Oh, Lilith. She's jumped on my bed. Come here, love. Come here. Oh, there she is. Oh my goodness. Such a cutie. Bonk, bonk. Hey dudes, what's up? It's been a couple weeks, so I just wanted to say I hope you guys are all doing good. I just want you guys to know that, like, I haven't forgotten about you guys. I never forget about you guys. When I don't post, it's not like I'm like, oh, screw YouTube. I, like, genuinely really do feel bad. I love all of you guys, and I do mean that. She's chewing on my lens cap. Oh my god, give me 1 second. I think she wants attention so bad right now. Like, either that or she wants to play or something, but I mean, she's sitting here, so... Are you busy? Do you have things you have to do? Oh, good girl. Okay. I apologize for the longer intro. I just haven't seen you guys in a couple weeks, and I wanted to, like, at least explain a little bit and also just make sure that you guys are okay and are good. I hope you guys are good. I hope your families are good. Everybody is safe and healthy. All of that being said, we'll finally get into the video now. I don't know how much of that I'm going to cut out, but if it's a little bit longer, I apologize. Today, I'm gonna be reading more of your guys' paranormal stories. I'm really excited to. I've picked out a few really good stories, so I'm really excited to get to read them for you guys. The first story I'm gonna be reading today comes from somebody from my Twitch streams. She also streams on Twitch, and she does body painting stuff, and it's really super cool. Her username is Pinemup, Pin M Up. The email was titled The Man in the Cell. Back in 2017, when I was 18, we were on a trip with the whole school. We went to an old prison nearby the place we were staying at that is known to be super haunted. Having experienced real things, I was worried it would be all a show. I was right about the tour, but had an uneasy feeling as we walked around. During the tour, the guide told us a story about how this prison held some of the most insane and dangerous criminals. So the warden/guard slept in a cell that was turned into a room so he could lock himself inside. One night, he woke up to a man completely in shadow strangling him. In self-defense, he pulled his gun, a musket at the time, and he turned it on the man. He then woke up, realizing he had his gun in his face, about to fire. They then said that from then on, the warden felt a dark presence in his room. We were then allowed to wander around after the tour. There was a couple of places that set me off, like in the courtyard, in the dark corners. Whenever I looked at them, I felt it would skulk to a different dark corner and watch me. This one was dark and did not want to be noticed. The rest of the place I felt feelings here and there, as I am an empath. Also, I will clarify now that I can't see spirits or entities or other kinds of spirits, but I can feel where they are. It's like in my head, I can almost visualize a mist of where I see the being. I can feel things like the shape and form, and sometimes even personal details about the person. There was one room/cell that I kept going back to it because it felt so enticing. When I was in there, I felt something in the corners of the room in the dark spots, but I wasn't able to get a read on it. I then walked out, but kept getting drawn back to the energy. It was so odd, it was like the spirit didn't want me to be able to read it. People not believing me and making it a joke were asking where it was and trying to taunt it. This entity kept jumping from corner to corner when I would point out his location. It felt like me and the entity were staring at each other. I went back to the room about 3 times before I went out and told the tour guide about the feeling. She was pretty excited and went in with me with the lights off as moral support. With the lights off, I got a little more of a read, but no real information. I then asked her if anything had happened in there that was noteworthy. Turns out this was the warden's room, the one with the entity who tried to make him kill himself. Even after hearing that, I was still so drawn to the energy. One of my teachers who believed me and was like, okay, that's bad, don't interact with it, get in the bus and leave. That entity was dark and kept its intentions hidden. As if I felt the negativity, I wouldn't have been so drawn to the energy. So overall, the man in the cell had played me and drew me in. That's very interesting, and it reminds me of my trip to Alcatraz. I visited Alcatraz Island and got to walk around the buildings about 2 years ago, so it was in 2018 around TwitchCon, because TwitchCon was in San Jose and Alcatraz is in San Francisco, so I got to go visit it, which was super freaking cool. That's so cool that you were able to pick up on that energy. I definitely believe it was probably something like playing off of the fact that you knew that it was there and it was trying to like make you notice it. This next story is titled Ghost in the Dorm. Hey Ash, so this is one of my many paranormal experiences. I lived in dorms when I was in college, and I had many creepy and weird experiences while I lived there, but this one is the scariest. My friend and I were hanging out in my room in the dorms one night. We were sitting on my bed, and we had all the lights off besides the one right above my bed. While we were watching the movie, I curled up towards the top of my bed, and my friend was in the middle and had her foot dangling off the side of the bed. Suddenly, she freezes and turns and looks at me, and she said, "Something just touched my foot." As soon as those words were out of her mouth, the light above my bed went out. Oh my God. We both started screaming and freaking out. The switch was near my bed, so I leaned over to try to turn on the light, and it wouldn't turn on. I had to get enough courage to jump out of bed and turn on the main light. Once the light was on, I investigated the light. I tried unscrewing the bulb and putting it back in. After a few tries, it did eventually come back on. I don't know how it turned off. We were both thoroughly freaked out, and we stayed curled at the top of my bed together. Eventually, we got tired and decided to sleep in the same bed that night since we were too scared to go into separate rooms. So we laid there, and we kept hearing this weird shuffling sound, as if someone was moving around in my room. Suddenly, there was a loud series of knocks on the counter/cubby area right beside my bed. It was very loud, and it scared us both so bad we both jumped and again cuddled together at the top of the bed the rest of the night. Both too scared to move as we listened to knocking and shuffling the rest of the night. You guys are both so brave for not moving to another room at all. I would have slept on the couch, I would have slept in the other room, I would have slept on the floor in the living room. I would not have slept in that room if the light turned off and you couldn't get it to turn back on. I mean, I'm glad you guys are okay, but I don't know how you guys stayed there after that happened. Ugh. This next email is titled, "Was it her dad or something else?" Hey Ash, my name is Amanda. I'm 24 years old, but I'm going to be sharing a story that happened years ago when I was staying at my friend's house. When I was about 15 or 16, I was staying the night at a friend's house. She had told me previously that her house was haunted and had told me some stories. That night, we were sitting on their living room floor with her brother who was 3 years younger than us, telling some ghost stories and basically scaring each other with them. I was sitting next to the door that led to the kitchen, so when I looked to my right, I could also see the door that led to their basement in the kitchen. We were all chatting when I heard the basement door open. Mind you, the kitchen was dark, other than the dim light that was on above the stove. The door opens and her dad comes up, or at least, I thought it was her dad. He smiles and waves at me and walks into the bathroom that is also located off the kitchen. Looking back, the figure didn't have any distinguishing characteristics other than, in the very dim light, it looked just like her dad wearing the same exact clothes he was wearing that day and everything, including a baseball cap. I turned back to finish talking to my friend and her brother, and about 10 minutes later, her dad came up the stairs, said hi to us, and started walking to the bathroom. I got chills all over my body and froze. I turned to my friend to ask her if she saw her dad come up about 10 minutes ago. She didn't. I then went right into the kitchen and asked her dad, "Weren't you just up here going to the bathroom?" He looked at me completely confused, telling me he was downstairs the whole time working in his office. That's not the only experience I've had at their house, but that was the last time I stayed the night there. You guys know this, I talk about it every once in a while, but stories like that scare me so much. The fact that things can just make themselves look and sound like other people, it just freaks me out. Oh my goodness. And especially seeing something so clear like that. I know you said it was in dim lighting, but still, for it to look like her dad, be wearing the same exact clothing, that's so creepy. Ew, I hate it. Oh my god. I mean, I love it, but I hate it. This next story is titled Haunted House? ? Hey Ash, my name is Courtney, and this is the story about how the house I'm currently living in is haunted. This is going to be a very long email, so each experience will be broken up in their own paragraphs and in chronological order. We have lived here for over 10 years, so there are many stories that have happened in this house. Only 2 that directly include me. I apologize in advance for the very long email and hope that I make sense, as I am not a very good storyteller. For you to understand this story, I have to explain a little bit about the layout of the house. You walk into the front door, and you are in the living room. But directly a couple steps inside, you can go upstairs into a loft type area. It has one big room with 2 closets on either side that is just lending into an unfinished attic space, and another smaller room connected to the larger room. It all started very early on, before we bought our house, when we were just purchasing the house. When we were purchasing the house, we needed to get an inspection done of the house. My mom, being a realtor, used an inspector that she trusted. The day of the inspection, my mom got a call from the inspector telling her to come over and get his clipboard he dropped in the attic because he refused to go back into the house. When asked why, he told her that he went into the loft and was inspecting everything. When he opened one of the side closet doors, he saw an old man rush out at him. When he saw this, he dropped everything and got out of the house, refusing to go into the house to collect the possessions that he had dropped. My mom, being a very skeptical person, drove to the house, got his things, and proceeded in the buying process. Oh my god, I don't even think my first instinct would have been paranormal in that situation. I would have been like, oh my god, there's a man living in my house. Like, can he leave before I buy it? Once we had bought our house, we were moving everything in and repainting. Here I need to further explain another aspect of the house. Once you come in the front door, you are in the living room, which connects to the dining room. Then, on the left, you enter a hallway with rooms on both ends. If you turn left, you enter one room that has a door that leads right back into the living room, right in front of the stairs. At this point, it was late, and most of the family was in the dining room eating pizza. My two younger sisters, who were 4 and 5, were running in that circle and laughing, when all of a sudden my sister Amber, second youngest, screams blue bloody murder. Everyone rushes to her to make sure she is all right, and between sobs, she says she saw a man's hairy arm in the living room window. Ew. My stepdad joked around and said that she just saw a reflection of his arm in the window. This is where our family decided to call our ghost Harry. That's kind of cute. I mean, like, kind of cute in a creepy way, you know? The house was pretty normal after that for a while. At first, my identical twin sister, Kimberly, and I lived up there and nothing ever happened to us. But my older sister decided she wanted more privacy, so Kimberly and I moved our rooms downstairs, and my older sister, Crystal, moved up into the loft. She always felt scared to be up there by herself, so she added an extra bed in her room where Kimberly and I would sleep most nights, even though we had our own room downstairs. One day, she came home from class and was freaking out. Once we got home, she asked if anyone had went into her room, but no one was at the house all day, and she was the last to leave. Next to her bed, she had a nightstand that had a lamp on it. She said she had came home, and it looked like someone tried to pick up the lamp and throw it across the room, but the cord was plugged into the wall. So, it was on the floor with the cable as far as it could go, laying in the middle of the room. Now, most people would think, well, maybe there was a window open, because there was a window right next to her bed, but all of the upstairs windows had been painted shut, and none of us could get them open. After this experience, my older sister moved downstairs in the room next to the front door, and no one moved back into the loft. After that experience, our family had a very tragic incident where my uncle attacked my grandmother, Kimberly, and me, and I was the only survivor. Oh my goodness. If you would like, I can share my story about that, but that's not paranormal or anything, so that's why I'm not including it. Just stating that my whole family was not in a good place at all during this time. That's completely understandable. A couple years later, and Crystal was pregnant with my nephew, Caden. One day, she was teaching my little sisters a way to exercise, touching the front door, walking up the stairs, then touch the door to the loft, then come down and repeat the process. They spent a good portion of the day doing her little exercise she came up with. Then it was time for everyone to go to bed. Now, I need to explain that there is another side of the house where from the living room on the opposite side from the loft is a door to a breezeway leading to what was the garage and stairs that lead up to the master bedroom. At this time, my stepdad had converted the garage into 3 bedrooms and a bathroom, so that is where me and my 2 little sisters slept, leaving Crystal in the other side of the house by herself. Now, if you remember, Crystal has the room near the front door, and she put her bed in front of the door to the living room, because she didn't want 2 doors leading to her room. Everyone is in their own rooms at this time. As Crystal is getting ready to sleep, she hears heavy footsteps coming down the loft stairs, very loud and exaggerated, a slam on the front door, and the same exaggerated footsteps going back up the stairs, slam on the loft door, and repeated the same exercise that the girls were doing earlier. This went on for 2 hours, and my sister didn't get any sleep that night. After this, she had a couch put in her room, where again, most nights I would sleep on instead of going to my own room. This last experience happened to me about 3 years ago. The joke around the family is that Harry likes me, and that's why he left me alone. In my room, I have a smart TV that connects to Netflix and YouTube, but I have never connected it to YouTube before. Well, I was cleaning my room, and by the time I finished it, it was probably 1 a.m., and I decided I was hungry, so I went to the kitchen looking for something to eat. When all of a sudden I hear a song on full blast, and I don't know what the song was, but the lyrics that were being repeated was, "Let's go back to your room," just repeating over and over. At first I was just confused, and just trying to find where the music was coming from. I followed the music to my room, And once I walked into my room and looked at the TV, it stopped and exited the song and had YouTube pulled up on my TV. I was freaked out, so I just said, "Okay," out loud, got my dogs, and got in bed. Now we are doing major renovations to our house, which is going to include redoing the whole loft area with a bathroom, unusable closet space, and a room for me to move up there. For some reason, Harry seems to not bother me, so fingers crossed. Thank you for letting me share my experiences with you. Thank you for writing your experiences to me. Are you kidding me? Again, I don't think I would have stayed at the house the second that man ran out at the inspector. I don't even think that was paranormal. I feel like it was literally just like a man in the house. That's scary. So that's all the stories I'm going to be reading today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you again to everybody who has sent me your stories so far. I'm sorry that I can't read all of them in videos, but I do read them, and I do really, really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to type them up and send them to me. It really does mean a lot. If you have a story that you haven't sent to me before, you can send it to me at ashparanormalstories@gmail.com. I'll put it across the screen here, and then also in the top bar of the description below if you want to send me a story. It doesn't have to be paranormal. It can also be UFO, alien, or like a let's not meet type story, like with creepy people, strangers, interactions, stuff like that. Other than that, I do want to remind you guys that I do stream on Twitch 3 days a week. My schedule has changed to Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, all at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We would love to have you guys over there. We are literally like little family over there, and it means so much to me. And I get to know you guys, and you guys get to know a little bit more about me while we share fun games or tarot streams and stuff like that. If you guys want to join me over there, my Twitch is xashtaria, just like here, so it's twitch.tv/xashtaria. I'll also put it in the description if you want to check it out. It will be a lot of fun, I'm just saying. I really hope you guys have a good rest of your day and a good rest of your week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody. Hey, we're eating plastic. We don't eat plastic.